Hi. Welcome to this inaugural session of Vigyan Vidushi 2021 in physics. I am Amol Dighe from TIFR and I am the convener of Vigyan Vidushi 2021. I also have my two co-conveners with me, Professor Vandana Anand and Professor Anvesh Majumdar, who will be talking to you shortly. As many of you know, Vigyan Vidushi was a program started for MSc first year students, women students in physics. It was started last year. 2020 was the first edition, and this year is going to be the second edition. The logos you see here on the screen are the logo of Vigyan Vidushi of TIFR. Of course, it's organized by the TIFR, mainly the Kolaba campus, and Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, which is HBCSC, which is also part of TIFR and also located in Mumbai. And you perhaps know that the current year is the year when TIFR is celebrating its 75 years. So before we go further, let me give you some idea of TIFR in case you do not know of it already. I know that this session is being seen by people all over the country. So TIFR, although its main campus is in Mumbai, has a presence in many cities. In Mumbai, it has the School of Natural Sciences, which essentially has physics, chemistry, biology. Then it has School of Mathematics, School of Technology, and computer sciences. It also has, of course, Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education. Apart from this, it also has centers in Pune, which is the National Center for Radio Astrophysics. It has a center in Hyderabad, which is called as TIFR Hyderabad, or also often called as TIFR Center for Interdisciplinary Sciences. And in Bengaluru, it has three centers. One is the National Center for Biological Sciences, or NCBS. One is the International Center for Theoretical Sciences, or ICTS. And it has Center for Applicable Mathematics, also called as CA. Vigyan Vidushi 2020, which happened last year, was the first edition of this new initiative. So it was, of course, planned to be in-person program in the beginning. When it was planned, COVID-19 was not yet among us. So the plans were to have it in person. However, we had to change it very quickly because of the pandemic. However, as a result of this opportunity, it turned out to be one of the first online summer schools in physics last year. We had course lectures, tutorials, special lectures, and mentoring sessions online even last year, which is the pattern which will continue this year also. We could accommodate about 48 students last year for direct interaction, which is via Zoom, and about 350 students were allowed to also attend live stream and ask questions. This turned out to be very successful. The feedback was very positive. You will learn in detail in the next talks by Professor Nanal or Majumdar. But as a result, in 2021, actually, even the fields of computer science and mathematics in TIFR decided to have their own Vigyan Vidushi programs. And just like we are having the program in physics in June, well, today, the last day of May, computer science and mathematics will have similar programs that will happen in July. So this is some kind of advertisement for them. So this year, in the Vigyan Vidushi 2021 physics, we will be able to accommodate about 56 students in online Zoom sessions, and more than 750 students will be able to attend from YouTube via live streaming. If you look at this map of India, you will observe that students are from all parts of the country. We did take care that people from many places should be able to attend. As you see, from every state, there is, I guess, at least one person. including states in the northeast and also states like Jammu and Kashmir. The green dots that you see are the students who will be attending the live sessions on Zoom, whereas the orange dots that you see will be the students that will be able to attend it only. So this is the inauguration session, and we are going to keep it short and sweet. I have already said whatever I wanted to say as my first 5 minutes. I would now like to request Professor Ramakrishnan, Director of TIFR, to say a few words about the program and welcome the students. Professor Ramakrishnan, up to you.
Thank you, Amal. Good morning to everyone. I'm glad that this program is now taking place, and I'm glad to be part of this to give you the inaugural address. I must thank Amol, Anvesh, and Vandana, who are the conveners of this program. The genesis of this program is, it's a small step, but a significant step attempted by TIFR to address the gender gap in science, engineering, and mathematics and technology exists even today. This problem is an old one, extremely complex one, and the study shows that this gender gap is not going to close for generations to come unless an intervention is made. Since it is a complex problem, the interventions could be in many forms. Actually, we need reforms in education, training, mentoring, even academic publications. If you look around, you would see that in the area of physics, computer science, and mathematics, very few conference speakers, very few authors in publications, very few editors in science journals and books. This is not a good thing, and this ought to be changed. And although there is a slight progress in this area, but we are far from it. And this is a global problem and requires remedial action from multiple fronts. So, from TFR, we started this Vigyan Vidishi program thanks to the scientists of TFR, and it is conducted by one of the TFR Center, National Center, who Homeopathy Center for Science Education specializes in science education, and the Nodal Center for Olympiads for Science and Mathematics. So we are aimed at the first year women students who have completed first year, because they are the ones who are on the threshold of choosing their career. Some of them would like to do research in physics. Some of them would like to look at other opportunities based on their education. And some of them even leave the scientific pursuits. I think this is something which is not a good thing for the country. And so we decided to concentrate on these first year students who have completed the first year and give them an exposure to advanced topics in physics, research opportunities, and also, most importantly, we would like to train them by our successful women scientists in PIFR and also from other institutes to show them research is clearly a viable option for them, and the presence of them in this fields, physics, computer science, and mathematics, will certainly enrich the programs as well as it is good for the country as a whole. So I would, so as Amul said, that initially this program was considered to be a resident program for 3 weeks. Not only the lectures, we also wanted to give a hands-on training on experiments. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen because of the COVID in the last year, and it persists this year as well. Hopefully, next year we could have this program. But it is gratifying to see that tremendous response we got from the last year, which made us to strengthen and also expand our activities. As you can see that it started with physics. Now in July we will have computer science as well as mathematics. I think I thank all the TFR members who are, participating in this important program of the institute. I wish all the success, and please enjoy yourself. And I think all of the conveners and the team will certainly help you to make this program a success. Thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you, Professor Ramakrishnan. Now, I would like to request Professor Subramaniam, who is the Center Director of the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, to give his opening remarks. I must mention that the Homi Bhabha Center is involved in a leading role, not only for organization, but a unique feature of this program, which is the physics education research component, is very, very unique and is here only because EBCSC was a part of this. So let me request Professor Subramanian to say a few words.
Thank you, Professor Amol, and thank you to all of you, to Professor Amol, Professor Anvesh, Professor Vandana for giving me this opportunity. A very warm welcome to all the students to the second edition of Vigyan Vidushi. And let me begin by congratulating the organizers for expanding the number of students participating in this program significantly. It's very heartening, very encouraging, and I think it augurs well for the future. This is really excellent way forward. I'm also extremely happy that the Homi Bhabha Center is playing an important role in the organization of this program, in both the organizational and the academic aspects. To the students, uh, of course, I would like to again repeat my warm welcome to you. I know that across the country, students are facing enormous hardships, like the citizens at large. Uh, Many of you may have just come out of a very difficult situation, possibly even traumatic. Some of you may be undergoing the same even now. And I hope that you muster the strength to come out of this pandemic. I hope that all of us as a country come out soon from this dark times. I also know that many of you may not have had the learning experience that you would have otherwise had during the first year of your masters. It is definitely, in some sense, a missed opportunity. And I hope that the Vigyan Vidushi program will help you in overcoming that handicap a little bit at least, and also in giving you, something to enjoy and participate in, and thereby adding to your strength to bear all these circumstances. Let me also take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Homi Bhabha Center, because all of you are quite knowledgeable about science, and particularly in your own discipline, physics. You know what is the lay of the discipline. So for many of you, science education might be quite a new area. Some of you may have heard of it for the first time. And of course, you will get a good exposure to what science education is in some depth with regard to physics education research in the course of this program. I'd like to also say a little bit about the center, which is different from regular science research centers or research institutions, in that it does not only research, it also has very strong impact programs, as we say. One of the best known is the Olympiad program, which all of you might have heard of, some of you might have participated in. But other than the Olympiad program, we also have a program for undergraduate students in science. We have multiple programs at the school level. Recently started one is something called Vigyan Pratibha, which is a science talent nurture program at the high school level. And we have extensive teacher training or teacher education programs throughout the year for various groups of teachers. This is the kind of work we do. In addition to that, we develop materials, learning materials in science, technology, mathematics, and so on. So it's a organization with not just research, but a sort of multi-dimensional objectives and set of activities. I'd also like to mention that it's a very multidisciplinary center. Uh, we'd have loved to have you here on campus in regular times. You would have been resident probably at the Homi Baba Center in the hostel. You would have had a ringside view of what happens in the center. But since we're only meeting online, I thought I'll give you a little bit of background. So that was about the activities at the center. But the academic ambience of the center is a very interdisciplinary ambience, and I wanted to mention that. You'll get a flavor for that, of course, in physics education research, but just to give you a little bit of background, to add to that, in fact, a little bit from my own area, which is mathematics education, let me say a few words. This discipline actually became consolidated starting in the 1970s. Uh, uh, and the immediate sort of occasion for that was the very large reform of the mathematics education curriculum, the school mathematics education curriculum, because this happened mainly in the Western countries when they realized that Russia was actually ahead of them in some areas of science, and they launched the first space vehicle, Sputnik. So it was a fallout of the Sputnik event, and all the United States and many European countries decided to reform the mathematics curriculum in school. However, this reform effort was, in some sense, a remarkable and striking failure, because it came from the logic of mathematics as a discipline, and it failed to take into account the way students thought, the way students understood mathematics. And this was realized primarily due to very important work done in cognitive psychology by Jean Piaget, a Swiss psychologist. So he began to have an influence in the late 60s and early 70s, particularly in the US, in mathematics education, in the field of mathematics education. And this actually sort of told people about the importance of paying attention to how students actually think. In physics, this also had an impact in terms of the research, which became a huge, massive area of research on alternative conceptions that students have in physics. And you will certainly hear quite a bit about that. And a lot of this is primarily due to the impulse from cognitive psychology and the work of Jean Piaget, and of course, many others. The field has developed. The Homi Baba Center itself started in 1974, just at the beginning of this wave of research in science and mathematics education. And it inherited those ideas, the trends in those disciplines, and it has contributed also to this work. Now, of course, since then, the impulse has come into mathematics and science education, not only from cognitive psychology, but also from other fields such as the social sciences. And in fact, I'd like to mention in particular the important notion of identity. In recent decades, in the last 15 to 20 years, people have understood that the identity that students have, that they bring into the classroom, they bring into the school or the college, influences greatly their receptivity to the subject. And it also is important to take into account for teachers in the way they shape their instruction. And this, of course, led to the realization that people with different identities, not, for example, gender. So women students, girl students have a very different way of looking at the subject. And instruction and teaching and education can take shape in such a way that it's exclusively addressed to male students, and thereby kind of excluding women students. And so the notion of identity has become very important, and it's got reflected in the way physics education or mathematics education is getting shaped. And I think broadly, Vigyan Vidushi, the effort fits into that trend of taking into account the role of identity in shaping both instruction and learning. You will also hear a little bit, I'm hopeful, about how the construct of identity has been used in physics education research. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background and about this new area, which is science education, about which you will hear a lot more, which overlaps quite a lot with mathematics education, technology education, and so on. And let me end this by again welcoming you. Very warm welcome. We would have loved to have you here on the campus. It's very unfortunate that that's not possible, but it's nice to interact with all of you. And I'm sure you'll all have a very nice time. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Subramanian. Next, let me hand it over to one of my fellow conveners, Professor Vandana Nanar. Professor Nanar is a professor in the Department of Nuclear and Atomic Physics in TIFR, and she will introduce you to the concept of Vigyan Vidushi, how it started, how it developed, and what it is now. So over to Professor Nanar.
Thank you, Prasad Ige. Just a minute, let me share my screen. Yeah. You guys can see my screen, right? Yeah. So, warm welcome to all the participants. And as Professor Ramakrishnan has already explained a little bit about the motivation of Vigyan Vidushi, I'll take a few more minutes and sort of walk you through some of the details and the thoughts which went behind it and how the idea materialized. So any problem, if you have to solve, we have to first understand the problem well. And one of the things is therefore first thing to notice is the gender gap in science. As you already learnt and you are aware of it, this is not something new problem. This is a quite old problem. Although one must say that the awareness has increased of late a little bit more, and there has been very conscious efforts in many directions to attack this problem. So what happens is that typically as you go up, as it's called going up in the pyramid, you go towards the higher education, the number of women in students also drop out, and as you go to the faculties and the higher level positions, the number of women keeps on diminishing. So that's where, I'll repeat, that the gender gap in STEM, that is the science, technology, engineering and mathematics, is a matter of global concern. And globally, the students' enrollment is particularly low in natural science, mathematics and statistics at 5%. In India, the problem of gender imbalance in physics is very acute. A very recent survey about a couple of years back revealed that for the physics departments in elite research institutes in India, the number of girl students at doctorate level, the PhD students, is very small. It's like 23%. It should be, ideally you should have an 1:1 ratio that's close to 50%. Of course, the problem is complex and needs a multi-pronged approach, and this has been recognized by many agencies and many corrective steps have been taken. Before I move further, I just want to add here, it's not just the problem of women. It's actually the problem of the society, because when the women remain away from the mainstream science, is the society which loses out, because we miss out on about 50% of the people who are not participating. Their skills and their contribution to overall society, economy and the progress is not taken into account. So Vigyan Vidushi, as was mentioned in the inaugural speech, is a small but a concrete step towards addressing this problem of underrepresentation of women in science. And how do we plan to do that? So firstly, let's just also take a glimpse at why so few women in science. Now there are many reasons for it, and there will be different views also. One of the first surveys which was done in India, a national level effort to look at the problems. This was the survey was supported by Indian Academy of Science and NIAS, and they looked at the question that the trained scientific woman power, how are we losing and why? The 2 points which were 2 major points they made are highlighted here is the mentoring mechanisms and integrating sessions during workshops, conferences to enhance capabilities of women scientists are important factors in attracting and retaining women in science. And secondly, honing networking skills is important, and such measures to provide greater opportunities for women scientists need attention. This was also brought out in a global survey which was published in Physics Today in 2012, that women physicists still do not have equal access to the career advancing resources and opportunities enjoyed by their male colleagues. Although both these reports are about 10 years old and some progress has made, the major concerns still remain, and therefore we decided to focus on these two aspects. Last year, from the change between the first to the second edition of Vigyan Vidushi, I would like to add 2 points which have happened in the 2020 and 2021, early 21. Is because of the pandemic, when the education turned necessarily online in India, there was a discussion forum for online teaching nationwide, and their survey also indicated that impact of pandemic is more adverse for women students and teachers. And on a positive note, the Department of Science and Technology, which brought out the Science and Technology Innovative Policy, which is also known as STIP, emphasizes the need for equity and inclusion. So moving on, what we plan to do in Vigyan Vidushi, as we said, it's a unique initiative for women students aimed at providing opportunities to level the playing field as well as increasing awareness. So this program importantly will enable the young women research aspirants, that is you all, to interact with women scientists, and this should help in breaking the gender stereotype, because many times when we think of a scientist, people would not even think of a woman scientist. And you will have some of the interactive workshops to also to learn about some of our inherent biases which we face, which we feel, and so on. So what program aims to do is it has 3-pronged approach: give advanced training in physics with emphasis on basic concepts and problem solving, give information about and opportunities for career in physics research, globally what you can do, and thirdly, importantly, give a glimpse of challenges which you will face as women scientists, and to help you prepare to face the same. We are not going to give you keywords or solutions, but it's kind of share our experiences and tell you the kind of directions which are there and the ways, the challenges you can approach them to overcome. So now this is a summer school for 3 weeks duration, as you know, for the first year MSc Women students who are on the threshold of deciding whether to opt for PhD, go for further career in physics or not. So we want to introduce to you the attractive research career and the opportunities and the fun you can have doing the research. So as I just mentioned, the 3 main components: training in advanced physics, then the interactive guidance sessions for research career in physics and gender related challenges, and also the introduction to physics education research at Homi Bhabha Science Center. I will be next few minutes, I'll be talking about mainly the second part, second point which I have put in red here, that is the interactive guidance sessions for research career and gender related challenges. So what happens in case of 2021, again due to the pandemic, the program remains online, and it also brings us an opportunity to involve more women scientists from all across the India as well as from abroad because of the online participation. As you already heard, we have had overwhelming response from various universities across the country, and it was a very tough job to select about 50 participants. So we have in this case, this year also, we have 50 plus students in Zoom classroom and about 700 plus given the option to join via YouTube. Another additional feature this year is we are introducing a Bibha Chaudhary Memorial Lecture, which will be held today at 4:30, and I will tell you more about it in the evening. But as many of you may have heard, Bibha Chaudhary was one of the first woman particle physicist in India, and she was the first woman scientist at TIFR. You have seen this picture, but I repeat to show that in this program we are having a very wider representation of the participants from many different parts of the country, and we hope to have a lot of detailed interactions with all of you. So what will we have in the interactive guidance sessions? There are again three parts to it. One is the interactive workshops. We will have two workshops. The first one will tell you about research career in physics, opportunities and challenges. This will tell you how to pursue a PhD, what are the possibilities after PhD, how do you go about applying, how do you write research papers, and what it means, that why it's important to attend conferences, how do you publish results, and so on. The second and very important part is improving self-confidence and dealing with gender-related challenges. This workshop, as I will tell you, is also at least in our experience from the last year, was very, very well appreciated. The second part of this interactive session is the group discussions with women scientists. Here, about 50 students, we break into small groups, and each group will have an opportunity to discuss with 2 or 3 women scientists, some senior, some at postdoc level, and we have a very informal discussion and we exchange ideas. We learn from the experiences of each other, and we also can discuss our problems freely. You will find this is something which is very nice, because many times what happens is I feel that I have a problem, but the same problem is faced by many others, so it's a common issue. In fact, Professor Rohini Godbole, who is one of the eminent women scientists in the country and a particle physicist whom you may have heard about, she mentions that in early 2000, when they got together for some meeting which was organized by IUPAC, that was the first time they realized that the problem each one of them was facing was actually not unique to them, but was something related to the more general gender-based problems. So in that sense, in the last 15 years, the awareness has increased, and we hope and we believe that the interactions like this will help all of us to move forward. And the third part of this program is the special lecture series by eminent women scientists, which you can see and perceive as role models, and see how they have overcome the problems and what they have achieved, and they are doing very interesting research, and they will tell you all about it. So let's take the thing, how did we fare last year? We have had, this is a second edition, and we were very keen to find it out. Of course, you also at the end of completion will give us the feedback, but we try to look back at the feedback from after a year about how our participants fared. So among many questions, I just highlight the 2 questions here. So we asked them how much was the material which we supplied to them were useful, and we had last year 48 participants and 38 of them replied, and you can see that most of them have found this very, very useful. What they learned has remained with them. The other question which we asked them is also that how many of them are planning to are already joined PhD or planning to pursue. Again, here the response is very encouraging, that majority of the students are trying to have either applied for the exams or getting into that. This year, of course, the exams and all the academic schedule is disturbed, but people are applying for that. So that's again very encouraging. Moving on to the, before I move to the special lectures, let me just also share one feedback with you, particularly related to the interactive discussions. Most of the students have appreciated interactive discussions with women scientists and career guidance workshop, and many have written their appreciation as well as the comments what they faced. And I just pick out one to share with you. It says the VV 2020 was an incredible experience for me, and I got to learn so much. But I think the biggest impact that VV 2020 had on me was not the coursework. It was about boosting my confidence. I have always been a shy and introvert girl who constantly felt overwhelmed. On the very first days of VV 2020, you told is about imposter syndrome, and it has been a learning curve since then. This is something which I personally find very appealing, because the lack of confidence in women is seen as one of the problems, and we feel that we have at least been able to address it. So we look forward to have very nice interactions with you, and we also will look forward to get your feedback and your impressions on how we learn. So please be please be open and discuss. These are some of the reports and where you can find the additional information about the last year's program. I'm also happy to announce that this program will be reported in the 7th IUPAP International Conference on Women in Physics, which will take place in July 2021. So the special lecture series, like last year also, we have the special lecture. This year we have 4 eminent scientists. The first one today is the Biba Chaudhary Memorial Lecture. As I just mentioned, this will be today at 4:30. And this will be given by Professor Mananda Dasgupta, an alumnus of TIFR. And currently she is at Australian National University, Canberra. We will have Professor Nandini Trivedi and Professor Urvashi Sinha giving the lectures about their science work, and Professor Rubhabati Goswami, who is the chair of the Gender in Physics Working Group of Indian Physics Association, will talk about women in science breaking the barriers. I will stop with here, and you will learn more about the structure of the course in the next talk.
Thank you, Professor Nandan. Let me now hand it over to Professor Anvesh Majumdar, who is another of my fellow conveners of VV 2021. Professor Majumdar is an astrophysicist. He is a part of the Homeopathy Center for Science Education, and he also is the national coordinator for the Olympiad program. He will tell you about what we are going to experience in the next 3 weeks or so. So over to Professor Majumdar to give us an overview of VV 2021. Please.
Thank you, Professor Dighe. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Vigyan Vidushi 2021. In the next few minutes, I would like to give you an overview of the entire program, what we are going to do in the next 3 weeks, the background for which has been set already by my co-conveners, Professor Dighe and Professor Nandan. So let us get into some of the details now. So what are the prime features of this program? So first of all, as we have heard already, that our aim here is to equip women students better for competition in the general field, in the open field, not in any under reservation, but in open competition. And this we aim to do on both academic front as well as other fronts. And for this, we divide our time between training in the content matter of physics and also some mentoring sessions, which Professor Nanal has already described in her talk. So topics in physics, everybody in an MSc course would have to take, and which lay the foundation for many of the other specialized areas. And in addition, we have some specialized topics. So we have 2 courses on basic topics and 4 courses on special topics. I will describe later what these are. And one unique feature of PV 2021 is that we also have a course on experimental physics, even in a virtual, although it's a virtual school. So obviously we can't be in a laboratory here. And but we attempt to cater to some of the aspects of experimental physics as much as we can through this online mode. This is something that we did last year also, and this year we have expanded on it. So under this course, there will be lectures on general techniques of data collection, data analysis, and estimation of various relevant physical parameters. There will be also lectures which will introduce the students to vacuum technologies and the cryogenics and detectors, which are almost ubiquitous in experimental physics in any area. And through this, we aim to have an orientation towards experimental research. And this will include a virtual tour of a few selected TIFR labs and the giant meter wave radio telescope in Khodad, which is run by the National Center for Radio Astrophysics in Pune, the GMRT. So, and apart from this, we will also have some tutorials in this course on data analysis and some illustrative research lab problems. And we'll also have some do-at-home experiments for the students, which they can do even during the lockdown, even without going to their colleges or universities. The other unique aspect of VV is the Introduction to Physics Education Research, which we call PER in short. So as Professor DK mentioned, this is a niche area which is unique to the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education in Mumbai, and this is usually not covered in our university curricula. Actually, very few places have in India have PR activities going on, but this is some area where the Homi Bhabha Center carries out research, and we'd like to introduce the students to this topic, give them just a flavor of what kind of things are done in this area. So this is a summary of the entire program. So we have 6 courses in the live classroom this year, which are quantum mechanics, which will consist of 12 lectures and 7 tutorials, statistical mechanics, 9 lectures and 3 tutorials, introduction to astrophysics, 6 lectures and 4 tutorials, introduction to laser and plasma physics, again 6 lectures for 4 tutorials, and introduction to quantum computation, 4 lectures. And I already talked about the experimental techniques course, which will have 6 lectures and 5 tutorials. In addition, we will also have the course on introduction to nuclear and particle physics. This course was given in the live classroom in the last year's edition of the Vigyan Vidushi. And this year, we will make available the 6 recorded lectures from this course to the students, so that maybe not during the course of this program, but immediately afterwards, they can go through this. And also they can ask their questions, which will be answered. Professor Nanal already mentioned that we have 4 special lectures by eminent women scientists. The first one is today with the Diva Chaudhary Memorial Lecture. We have 6 sessions on the physics education research orientation. And we have 5 sessions on the career discussion and mentoring workshops that Professor Nanal mentioned. In addition, we also have some informal interaction evenings. This is typically the kind of time and space that you get in any real school or conference or workshop, where the students can mingle with each other maybe after the day and get to know each other a bit. And also not only the students themselves, but also the mentors and the teachers. So to facilitate this on a few evenings, we have kept some time for such interaction. Online, of course. So a little bit more about the main courses. So the quantum mechanics course will be taught by Professor Arvind Kumar, who is the former center director of the Homi Bhabha Center. The statistical mechanics course will be taught by Professor Rajdeep Sen Sarma from the Department of Theoretical Physics in TFR. The experimental techniques course will be shared among 3 teachers, Shirish Pathare from the Homi Bhabha Center, Professor S. Prabhu from the Department of Condensed Matter Physics and Material Science in TFR, and Professor Vandana Nanal from the Department of Nuclear and Atomic Physics in TFR. The specialized courses, the Introduction to Astrophysics, will be taught by Professor Bhaswati Mukherjee from the Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics in TFR. The Introduction to Laser and Plasma Physics will be taught by Professor G. Ravindra Kumar from the Department of Nuclear and Atomic Physics. And the course on Introduction to Quantum Computation will be taught by Professor R. Vijay Raghavan from the Department of Condensed Matter Physics and Material Science. And the video course, Introduction to Nuclear and Particle Physics, this was taught last year by Professor Vandana Nanal and Professor Amol Dige from the Department of Theoretical Physics. So these are the main courses. Of course, apart from the main courses, we have more on the menu of Vigyan Vidushi. So the physics education research I already mentioned. So we will have 6 expository lectures on physics education research. This is not really a course, but just to give you a flavor of what physics education research means, what kind of things we think about and do research on. So these lectures will be given by Dr. Deepa Chari, myself, and Dr. Mashood, all of us from the Homi Bhabha Center, and Professor Arvind Kumar, who was formerly at the Homi Bhabha Center and now retired. So the topics that we'll cover will include student conceptions in physics, the idea of concept inventories in physics education research, how modeling is treated in physics, some idea about epistemic understanding in physics, and the applications of physics education research in educational policy. So these will be the broad topics covered in this. The career discussion, Professor Nanal has already described in detail. This activity will be led by Dr. Deepachari and Dr. Nishita Desai from the Department of Theoretical Physics and Professor Vandana Nanal. And apart from them, another about 20 experienced and young women researchers from who are either currently at TIFR or were earlier associated with TIFR. These women researchers will join the career discussion and act as mentors, so the students can interact with them. And this also includes all the women coordinators of this program. So this part is restricted to the women participants only, this career discussion and interaction part. Professor Nanal has already mentioned the special lecturers, the 4 speakers, so I will not go into details of that. So what kind of sessions shall we have? So each course has lectures interspersed with tutorials on an average 2:1 ratio, as you saw earlier. So we place great importance on the tutorials as well, and not just lectures. And each session will be of 1 hour, where typically the lecture will be for 45 minutes, and then 15 minutes we will keep for question and answers. And even after this 1 hour, we will keep the live classroom open for another 10 minutes for the students to write in their questions on the chat. And these will be passed on to the instructor, who will perhaps address them in the next lecture or give written answers. We will try to address all the questions from both the Zoom and the YouTube students. Of course, sometimes the number is very large and it becomes difficult to address all questions in the given time, but this is something that we successfully did last year, and we are hoping that we will be able to do it this year also. So my request to all the students is that don't hesitate to ask questions. You can ask, you can write your questions on the chat box, both in Zoom and in YouTube during the lectures, and be patient. The speaker will try to answer as many of them as possible. The tutorial sessions, for the tutorial sessions, the live classroom will be divided in 2 sections, and we will run 2 parallel live sessions. So this is so that we can pay more attention to individual students and they can ask more questions. The career discussion and the mentoring sessions will also be held in smaller groups sometimes, not some of them are common sessions, and we also have more for more intensive discussion. We'll break them up into smaller groups and conduct sessions parallelly. And these main courses and the special lectures will all be in 4 regular 1-hour slots during the day from Monday till Saturday. So we hope that this will help us to establish and maintain a good schedule. And we also have evening sessions where the mentoring sessions will be held in the evening, and the physics education research sessions are also in the evening. And we have the informal interaction sessions on Sundays. So this is the overall structure. Let me give you some numbers. So who is participating in the Vigyan Vidushi program this year? So we, as has been mentioned, we have 56 students in the online classroom. This is on Zoom platform. And additionally, we have invited 786 applicants to attend these lectures on the lectures only on the live stream, that is the YouTube. And we have, for these lectures, we have 9 instructors and 18 tutors in the main 7 courses. And of them, there are 16 of them are female and 11 of them are male. And most of them are either currently affiliated to TIFR or have been at TIFR earlier as students or postdocs and are now elsewhere, as you can see. So, and apart from this, we will have 30 coordinators in the live classrooms who will help to facilitate the academic process, the discussion, and all the technical requirements of the live classrooms. These coordinators are basically graduate students at TIFR in the various departments of physics, and also members from the Homi Bhabha Center who are working there, who are affiliated to HBCS. We'll have 23 women resource persons participating in the career discussion and mentoring workshops. And the whole program is monitored by a 12-member academic committee and is supported by a 3-member technical committee. I will give more details about them. So the academic committee has members from the TIFR main campus, the Homi Bhabha Center, and also the National Center for Radio Astrophysics in Pune. So the academic committee is responsible for designing the entire academic program and the mentoring sessions. They are the ones who also were involved in the selection of the participants from a very large number of applications. This year we received 900 applications, and we had to really had a tough job selecting the few people that we could accommodate in the live classroom, because many of the applications were very good. So we extended the offer to have the lectures live streamed on YouTube for most of the remaining applicants. The academic committee, almost every member is playing a leading role in the different courses and the mentoring sessions, and the students will meet all of them. And apart from this, of course, we have teachers and tutors and mentors from elsewhere, from TIFR, the main campus, from the Homi Bhabha Center, from NCRA, and other institutions as well. So this is the full academic team. Now, because the program is fully held online, so we need a very strong technical backbone. And for this, I'll especially mention the technical committee that we have of 3 members from TIFR Kolaba and the Homi Bhabha Center, Parag Shah and Kapil Ghadiali from TIFR Kolaba, and Manoj Nair from the Homi Bhabha Center. So they are responsible for facilitating this fully online program. They set up the online application and evaluation platform. They have set up the online platform for the classrooms and also for course material dissemination for the live classroom students. And they carried out orientation and training of every participant, the students and all the coordinators and the mentors prior to the program. So we hope that this will go very smoothly. Of course, now after 1 year of lockdown, almost everybody is more or less familiar with the Zoom classroom. So we hope that we will have a hiccup-free experience. And to help them, we have a team of academic and technical coordinators. As I mentioned, these are graduate students and members of graduate students of TIFR main campus and members of the Homi Bhabha Center. So that is the whole team. So I will end here and thank you all for participating in this session, and welcome to all of you to the Vigyan Vidushi 2021. Have a nice time. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Majumdar. Yes. So we are coming to the end of this inaugural session, and we'll soon launch into our main program. This is just to remind you that VV 2021 has a web page which is given here. It's vv.hbcsc.tifr.in. You could go there and find any updates. Of course, the students will be told about any updates in the course of lectures, or in fact also communicated via email. There'll be 4 public events, which are the 4 public lectures, which will be streamed live on the same Vigyan Vidushi YouTube channel that you might be seeing this program at. So do subscribe to the channel and you will be able to see them. But for your information, they are going to be on, starting from today, on the next 3 Mondays and 1 on Thursday. So I would like to welcome everybody here, not just students, but also everybody else who is attending this program, to attend the special lectures, participate in them, and also tell your friends about them. So before we leave, I would like to thank all of you who have participated in today's inauguration program, all the students, everybody else from TIFR and its various branches that have encouraged us. We see indeed people attending this session from many of the TIFR centers, and thanks for joining. There are many instructors and tutors and mentors who have and coordinators who are attending this session. And it was very nice that you attended them, because having an idea of how the program is going to be is often also very useful in when actually the program is going on. So the celebratory part, I would say, now is over, and we would go to the academic part. The first session is going to start at 11 o'clock with a course in quantum mechanics. Um, of course, this is going to be only for the students. So goodbye. I think the session is now closed. We will see you again at 11 o'clock.